I got a big pot of beans over here. Now, who says beans are boring? I hear this all the time. People are saying, what do you expect, people to eat beans? Well, yes, I do, because I'm on a quest to make beans sexy again. Yes, I am. I'm going to prove to you how sexy and delightful beans can be. I'm going to show you how you can take just one pot of beans, one pot of humble beans, and flavor them 3 different ways so they're so delicious and easy. Now, here's a hint that I have. I like to cook up one big pot of beans, and I have them all the time. Then I put them into jars and either refrigerate them if they're hot, I put them into mason jars so they keep, or I put them into containers and I freeze them. And when I want to turn them into a delicious bean dish, I just pull it out and I season it in one of these 3 different ways, or in many of the other ways that I have. How do I cook the beans? Well, I soak them overnight and then I drain them. To blow one of these old wives' tales, I do salt my beans when I cook them. The salt does not make them tough. It's totally fine to do that, and it adds more flavor. And then I throw in aromatics like onion, carrot, and celery. Actually just broke these and threw them in there. Depending on the bean that you have, you're going to cook them different lengths of time. But these 3 recipes are designed for any type of white bean. The first recipe we're going to make is a lemon miso. This one is absolutely the simplest, because all you're really going to do is take some beans, and you don't really have to measure. You know, it's as much as you want to eat. And we're going to add some lemon zest to the beans here. It's so simply flavored and absolutely refreshing and delicious. All right, then we're going to stir in a little bit of white miso. This is a light colored miso. And we're just going to reheat this. Okay, we're just going to bring this back to a simmer and cook them for about 2 minutes. And then this bean dish has been delicately and deliciously seasoned, and it's ready to serve. All right, I've simmered these. I'm ready to serve this up. The broth is really flavorful, so we want to include some of that as well. Drizzle a little olive oil on it. Sprinkle with parsley. And bean dish number 1 is ready. The next one is going to be Pomodoro Brodo, or tomato with a little bit of broth. And I'm going to start out by sauteing a little bit of onion. Remember, the recipe quantities aren't exact for this. It depends on the quantity of beans you want to cook. You can make enough for yourself. You can make enough for an entire family, a crowd. It doesn't matter. It's a very malleable recipe. The idea is that, yes, you can flavor beans in succulent, delicious ways that'll make everyone crave them. Okay, I'm going to start out by sauteing my onions and some garlic. So I'm going to get some olive oil in here. Because we've got onions going on in here, this one's a little bit more involved than the last recipe, but also still very, very simple. All right, I've got some beautiful garlic here from the garden. This is a native Creole garlic. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It's got little purple skins. So I'm just going to use a couple of cloves. I use the greens, the tops of this native Creole. Really wasn't sure what was growing. It just looked like grass, but it tasted like green garlic. And so I used it, and it turned out it was garlic. And now I'm in love with this. It is a full flavored garlic. And I got a whole lot of it. So you're going to see me cooking a lot of this. All right, I'm going to throw this in with my onions, a little pinch of sea salt, and we're just going to cook that for a minute until the onions soften. All right, I'm going to throw in 1 tomato diced. And I'm going to start adding some beans. All right, so I got a couple of cups of beans in there. To that, I'm going to add about a half a cup or so of vegetable stock, and then a couple of glugs of red wine. And we're going to simmer this for about 10 minutes or so to let all the flavors meld, and then we're going to stir in some herbs. You can see the tomatoes beginning to break down. They just need a few more minutes. These have been simmering for about 10 minutes. I'm going to add some fresh oregano. If you don't have oregano, if you don't have fresh oregano, I recommend that you add fresh basil instead of dried oregano. I do not like dried oregano. And in fact, I thought I didn't like oregano. And I would always use dried marjoram until I started growing oregano. And then I was like, oh my God, this herb is so amazing. So I am in love with fresh oregano, not with dried. But you can feel free to substitute whatever herbs you like for this. So I'm just putting in oregano. We're going to let that meld for about 1 more minute, and then this is ready. All right, this one's ready. I'm going to fill this bowl, drizzle it with a little bit of olive oil again. Olive oil from my olive arbor. No, what's the word? Orchard, orchard, orchard. All right, the final bean recipe is going to be, you guessed it, leeks and mushrooms. So I've got a leek here, and we're just going to saute this first. Now you can rinse it after you've cut it in half. I already cleaned it pretty well. Oh, there's some dirt in there, so I'm going to go ahead and rinse this. Some people like to slice it completely and then rinse it under a colander to make sure they got everything cleaned. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and slice this. And you want largely the bottom portion. Remove the tough outer leaves. I had already done that. When you get up into the really, really green part, it does get tougher. You can use it for things that you're cooking for a long time, but this is a fast cooking dish, so I want to omit the tough top leaves. Now I get my olive oil in there, and I'm using olive oil from our olive oil garden, orchard. That's the word, orchard, not olive oil garden. It's an olive orchard. Ah! All right, I'm going to get the leeks in there. Give it a little salt. Once these wilt, I'm going to add the mushrooms. The leeks have begun to wilt, so I'm going to add the mushrooms now. Okay, I've got a clove of garlic. You can add more if you like. And we're going to let that wilt, and then we're going to add the beans. So you can use any kind of mushrooms you like. I have a combination here of shiitake, oyster mushrooms, and cremini mushrooms, but whatever you have is fine. You can use all white mushrooms if that's all you can get. I always like to use a combination. It makes it more interesting, but whatever you can get is absolutely fine. But make sure they're fresh. This is not a dry mushroom dish. Use fresh because you want that texture. I'm going to add a little bit more salt. And when the mushrooms have wilted like this, we're going to add the beans. You're going to want the bean water for this as well. And we're going to add a couple of glugs of white wine and some lovely rosemary. Stick that sprig in there. I can remove it right when it's done. I'm going to do the same thing with some fresh oregano. Now, of course, you can use dried. I happen to have a lot of fresh growing in my garden. And luckily today you can buy fresh herbs. They are definitely better in a dish like this that's only cooked for a few minutes. But of course, you can go ahead and use dried if you like. I'm going to add a little bit more broth. It's getting a little low on broth here, but I can smell everything and it looks great. Oh my God, I just took a taste of the broth here. I'm just going to remove the rosemary and the oregano, and it is so aromatic, so beautifully balanced. Oh my God, I can taste the leeks, I can taste the mushrooms, I can taste the herbs. I'm just going to drizzle that with a little bit of olive oil as well. Top that with a little bit of parsley. I'm just going to tear it. 3 lovely bean dishes that prove that beans can be sexy. Okay, I've cooked up my 3 different versions of beans from this 1 pot of beans. I cooked up only 1 pound of beans, and I got 3 different ways of serving them. All delicious, all, I think, sort of magical in terms of the humble ingredient being transformed into something that's a culinary delight. So I'm going to dig into these now. This is something you can serve for dinner with pasta, with rice, just with a chunk of bread to dip into. They're not soups. They're sort of, I don't know, just beans. They're so delicious. So I'm going to start out with this one, the lemon miso one, because this is the lightest in flavor. And I'm just going to put some on my bread here. Oh, wow. Those are great flavors. Wow, that is so delicious. Of course, you can use canned beans and turn into this, but do yourself a favor. Get some beautiful heirloom beans from a local grower or online and cook a big pot and then portion it out and freeze them. And then you can turn it into these dishes whenever you want. All right, so let me try the next one, which is the mushroom, because this one Oh my God, I can smell it. Oh, it's sexy. Oh my God, the mushrooms are also sexy. Oh my God. Oh my God. This grandma is turning sexier by the minute because of her beans. All right, and then I've got the last one, which is the most robust. It's the tomato broth one. And that is so robust. I just got to dip my bread in there. Oh my God, get some of that broth on my bread. Stuffing my face again. Oh my God, so delicious. Well, thank you for watching another episode of The Vegan Good Life with Miyoko. And I hope you'll give these sexy bean recipes a try. Let's make beans sexy again. Together, you and me. What are you guys eating?
Beans, the musical fruit.
Would you say
The more
that
you eat, come on, you all know the rest.
and the more beans you eat, the sexier you get?
Questionable. You're
This
right.
is my favorite.
Yeah,
Okay.
the mushroom is so
You like the
good.
mushroom?
Yes.
Isn't it good? Oh, you have to try the tomato one too.
Full of depth and umami.
Ooh, mommy.
This is delicious.
Ooh, mommy.
Very good.
All right. Well, you got one
I
more to try.
endorse.
You endorse.
Yep.
You endorse.
It was really warming. I would eat this in the fall, I think.
And the warmth of the beans complements the warmth of the friends around you.
Ooh, that's a keeper.
Tonight the mushroom sings so loud. In this bean broth,